the Eating at a Meeting podcast. I'm your host, Tracy Stuckrath, dietary needs expert, certified meetings manager, certified food protection manager. I have searched the globe to find people and businesses who are creating safe, sustainable, and inclusive food and beverage experiences for their employees, guests, and communities. In each episode, you will find authentic conversations about how food and beverage impacts inclusion, sustainability, culture, community, health, and wellness. I know that sounds like a lot, but we're going to cover it all. Are you ready to feed engagement, nourish inclusion, and bolster your bottom line? If so, let's go. I am so excited today to introduce you to founder, president, and CEO of Mulay's Foods, Mulay's Sausage, Loree Mulay Weisman. And her sausage products are so good. My mom was raving about them when we were making them, but their sausages are certified allergen-free, certified paleo, certified keto, and certified gluten-free. So welcome to the show, Loree.
Thank you very much, Tracy. It's great to be with you.
Thank you. Okay, so let's just start off. How did you get into this? When did you start?
We started long ago. My husband, then boyfriend, and I were ski bums in Crested Butte, Colorado.
Okay.
And we worked in restaurants, 4 jobs, trying to make a living. And we went back. My husband's from New York, and we went to a big Italian street festival, and everybody was selling sausage with peppers and onions. And he's like, "You got to try it." I said, "Absolutely not." And then finally I ate one, and it was all just gristly and gross. And I just said, "My Nana's sausage is so much better." So fast forward, he said, "Hey, let's link up some of your Nana's sausage. We'll sell it at the 4th of July fair."
Okay.
And so we went to one of the restaurants that we worked at, borrowed their KitchenAid, mixed up 100 pounds of pork with all of our spices, and linked 400 sausages. And
Wow.
then the next day we sold out in 4 hours. And everybody said, "Oh my gosh, these are so good. Where can we buy them?" And I said, "Well, you can't. And if you're lucky, we'll do it again next year." We were exhausted, but when we counted the money, we were like, "Oh, maybe we will do this." So anyway, that was back in 1990. And so that was 31 years ago, this 4th of July. And it was always just kind of this hobby business that just kind of was in the background. We got into the lodging business, so always been in hospitality.
Okay.
And then when we sold that business in 2011, we still had this sausage company that had grown and actually started doing some volume in retail.
Mm-hmm.
So we continued with that, and now we're kind of swinging back and trying to start into food service again.
Okay. That's so cool. I'm just trying to see if we've got who's coming on and asking questions. 3 new comments. I don't know if that's for this now. So you've had the sausage company for 30 years now, basically, right?
Right.
And doing that. But you, like I said at the very beginning, you're now certified allergen-free, top 8 allergen-free, I should say, paleo, keto, and gluten-free. And can you talk to me why you went that route, and why was that important for you to go that route?
Well, the whole eating healthy and the whole idea of just simple, natural, traditional has always been the way I was raised, the way that my family eats, and the way that our sausages have always been, just really good pork and spices. So when we started doing some retail business, we realized that we were pretty much the only really clean product that you could find on the market. And we were using antibiotic-free pork, humanely raised, all that kind of stuff. And so I got certified gluten-free, I believe in 2006, maybe.
Okay.
Which was way early. It might have been actually a little before that, but we went with the Celiac Sprue Association, which had was our longest running, and at that time, the only really certifying agency for gluten-free, and really catering to celiac disease.
Okay.
So we got that certification early on, but then we realized, like, I've been looking for a long time for allergen-free certifications.
Okay.
I couldn't find anything in the States. There was one company in in Canada. But then I came across Betsy Craig and Menu Trimpo and that whole thing. And that her certification program was fantastic because it would certify us free from the 8 major allergens. And, people don't think of sausage or meatball. Well, meatballs you definitely do, but sausage as having gluten in it. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of sausages are pumped full of fillers to absorb the enormous amount of fat that they use because they're using a lesser quality of meat.
Okay.
So there's a solution that's injected in, or it's like not injected, it's mixed in with the meat when they're grinding. And that solution has some gluten in it or oat or something that absorbs the fat and makes them kind of really plump up.
Okay.
Well, people don't think that they're eating anything when they do that. There's a lot of soy in meat products, things like that are hidden allergens that you really don't think about unless it will make you critically ill or somebody that it will.
And the sausage, the skin, people usually put flour in that to help do something?
No, well, ours is a natural casing, which is just a hog casing. And the other casing is called collagen casing.
Okay.
So no, it's just not a natural casing. It's a synthetic casing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But do you yourself or anybody in your family, do you have allergens and or why, what instigated it?
Well, it's always been that way. We didn't say, hey, let's go make a gluten-free sausage. It's just, It never had gluten in it.
Okay.
So I thought it was important to tell people what isn't in our sausage. It's got, what's in your sausage? Do you know? I'm telling you that ours doesn't have nitrates. It doesn't have gluten. It doesn't have soy. And then when we started to develop more products and we developed our meatball, that was really exciting because we have developed a meatball that is completely gluten-free and egg-free and dairy-free and soy, tree nut, peanut, fish, shellfish, the 8 major allergens.
Yep. And
we are proud to say, yes, it's certified free from the 8 major allergens and it's free. And so we are super, super excited about that. And it tastes so good. I just grilled some on the barbecue the other night.
Yeah.
They were so good. But that's what we want to do is just clean, simple food that tastes so good. And it can reach all audiences. So if you have a family of 6, I get these mothers that say, oh my gosh, my family's eating all together again. Because, you buy things and maybe you buy it because your kid can't have gluten, but the rest of the family can. But the stuff that you're buying for the kid isn't necessarily taste as good, and you really wouldn't want to serve that with your family. But our products are for everyone.
Right.
And the guy who's like, I don't want anything natural, he will love the product and say, let's serve it at the football game or whatever when we get back to that.
Yes. And it's funny that you say that because my mom made chicken Parmesan last night and she makes mine with gluten-free breadcrumbs and then she makes hers and my dad's with, with fully glutened breadcrumbs. I'm like, Mom, it's getting doused with really good tomato sauce that's all natural and we're using gluten-free pasta. So why not just use, the gluten-free that? And she's like, I did think about that after the fact, and so as products are getting better, and as your products have always been that way, it does make it easier on the kitchen, whether you're a home kitchen or you're a food service kitchen. And you mentioned at the very beginning that you are getting back into food service. And I know when we chatted, like a month ago, 2 months ago, you're like, yeah, I had this whole thing going, and then COVID-19 hit. So can you talk a little bit about your food service program and with all of your products, and talk about what kind of products you have? You mentioned meatballs.
Yes. Well, we are getting into food service again, which is very exciting. We have distribution through DOT.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not familiar with DOT, your distributor would be very familiar with DOT.
Okay.
Doesn't matter who you're ordering from. It could be a small local regional distributor, or it could be a Shamrock or Cisco or US Foods.
Uh-huh.
All of those companies can buy through DOT. It's DOT, and they are like a redistributor. And what it does is it allows your restaurant or your hotel or your event, if you're a caterer, you can buy one case at a time of a specialty item or something that's not so special, but your distributor doesn't stock it full time.
Okay.
And if it's an in-stock item at DOT, which several of our products are, you can get that case in 3 days from anywhere in the US.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's not, you think of an upcharge, but it's really, for us, we pay a price to go in, and the distributor pays, but the distributor's paying like they're getting it from us. Anyway, it might be too much detail. I tend to do that. It's great because you're not paying more. Okay. And it makes it super convenient. So whatever I can give you a distributor landed price, okay, and then whatever your markup is from that distributor or margin, whatever, you can add that to it and you'll know exactly what you're paying. So it's really been an amazing thing to let us reach all these people that before we couldn't even imagine, like setting up small distributors in North Carolina, or we couldn't imagine setting up a distributor in Minnesota, Chicago, whatever. Now it's like anybody anywhere can get it, and it's fun to watch our stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody's in Florida is using our breakfast sausage. Oh, Patagonia is using our, breakfast sausage and brats. Right. It's fun.
Yeah. No, that's great. And because I know I'm in North Carolina and I can't get it at a grocery store here, but and I know a couple of people were chatting about it on Instagram earlier. How do they find you, or how do they get your product?
You can ask
if I'm just a regular consumer, I guess.
Oh, if you're a regular consumer, probably the easiest way to do it is go online and order it.
Okay.
It depends on where you are. But if you're in the Western US, Natural Grocers by Vitamin Cottage has it in all of their 165 stores. Wow, okay. All of our products. And then, fine retailers. So in Texas, Central Markets has it. In California, Berkeley Bull or Bristol Farms or Molly Stone's, or, like smaller specialty markets, mm-hmm. Natural food stores, natural co-ops.
Okay.
All of those kind of stores have it.
There's one restaurant in Denver, Just Be Kitchen. You need to make sure that you've got your sausage in there because they are a paleo restaurant. They're right on 15th and near Central. My niece used to work there. Delicious restaurant. And they're I don't know where they get their sausage from currently, but it would be great. Now how did I know you've recently been diagnosed with the dairy intolerance. Is that right?
Yes, it is an intolerance. It's not an allergy, mm-hmm. But I think I've had it actually my whole life. It was kind of a weird way I came about it, which I won't bore you with. But the fact of the matter is if I have any dairy at all, I will get the next day a major headache that is, I can't really get out of bed. I guess it's very similar to a migraine. I never thought I had those, but and that's only after I have cleared it out of my system completely. And it's been 3 years now. So I was having a reaction to dairy on a regular basis, but I was taking Advil or Tylenol or aspirin every day of my life since I was about 15.
Wow.
And then several years ago, I ended up with well, here I am telling you the story. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
No, so I ended up having a heart attack.
Oh, and
wow. It was not a blockage or anything. It was called a SCAD, a spontaneous coronary artery dissection. And I went to Mayo Clinic, got the confirmed diagnosis. And then she said, well, you're really a rare candidate for, like, it's a rare thing, but you're not typical. It's runners, it's people like this. And then I started putting it all together and I'm like, those people take Advil every day. Those people, their muscles are hurting. And I think that's really, I was trying to mask this headache that was always happening. And when I stopped, and now it's so great. But it's really interesting. And intolerance can be very debilitating.
Yes.
And people don't understand that. And I loved in your statement where you like no eye rolls. It's like people don't get it and they don't understand. And there is no diagnosis. It's not going to kill me, but it'll put me out for 2 days. It's like,
yeah.
And that's a big deal to anybody in their life. And some restaurants will be so amazing. Like you call for a reservation and on the phone, are there any dietary restrictions we need to know about?
Right.
That is like already by just calling to make that reservation, I'm feeling a sense of confidence walking into that restaurant that I will be taken care of, that they will be able to accommodate my needs. And other places, you'll tell them 3 times and then out comes this sauce where I'm just looking at it going, there is no way that there's not dairy in this sauce, and they're like, oh, it's just a little butter. Oh, okay. I just don't need to get off tomorrow. That's all,
Exactly. Yeah.
So anyway, it's really interesting.
And that's frustrating. And there's a story from a long time ago. Somebody said they were allergic to tomatoes and they're like, so please don't put tomato on the sandwich. And then they put the toothpick on it and they put a cherry tomato on the toothpick on top of the sandwich. And they're like, hello, because they just assumed this tomato inside the sandwich was the thing that was not necessary. But now you've just contaminated it with this other tomato because that was probably pre-made, on the toothpick and done that. But so same thing with your dairy allergy. And have you seen, when did you start marketing that it was certified allergen-free and gluten-free? And did you see an uptick in purchasing once you made that certification?
I think that we have definitely seen growth in our business. And I think that as word gets out and we're marketing to the right people and they know about it, the more and people try it, because that's the other thing, especially think about the first gluten-free things that you ate and how awful they were, and like, but people that haven't had a meatball in 10 years, they're pretty excited about it,
They were so good.
Yeah.
And they were good.
So, as people try them and we're just about ready to launch a new German Frank and British Banger.
Oh, awesome.
They are also fully certified gluten-free and free from the 8 major allergens. Those hot dogs are amazing. The German Frank's hot dogs, they are amazing. And I haven't really eaten a hot dog in 20 years. But now, they are so good. And people are just like, that was really good. That was the best hot dog I said. A guy who's a category he's the guy that decides what comes in or out of a major distributor in the Northern California. And he's, 65-ish and has had every product known to man forever. And he tasted it and he leaned back and he's like, I think that's the best hot dog I've ever eaten. And
really?
Yeah, I know. I was just like,
wow.
And the president of the plant where we produce, he had it and he's like, oh, we have a winner. I mean, just, it's amazing. And I'm so excited because people can eat really good food that tastes really good. And it doesn't have to have it. There's no sugar in any of our products.
Oh,
no
wow.
sugar.
And that's why it makes it certified paleo.
Paleo, right.
Yeah.
And keto and all that. And I think that as I was progressing, as we were deciding to really take this on as a full-time business, when I realized, hey, we're paleo. And like my kid said, oh, we're paleo before it was cool, Mom. And keto and gluten-free and all this stuff. We just went for the certifications to give that consumer confidence and customer awareness that it's not just us saying it. Somebody else is going in and looking at it and saying, that's right. And their processes, everything is totally, on the up and up. And what they're doing is really clean.
Yeah, because those CYA statements of made in a facility that also produces, things, those aren't FDA regulated. Those are organizations, companies just putting that on there to let you know that there may be minute something because, 200, 500 yards away, they're making something else. But so your facilities are 100% free of all of those foods.
No, that's not true.
No. Okay.
But it's I think it's a little different when you look at like FDA and USDA. So okay. USDA is all meat inspection,
right?
And everything from the second it arrives at the loading dock to be received to the time that is left the loading dock on the other end of the plant going into a truck. There is a chain of, what's it called? A chain of, not command, but it tracks the product through everything. The equipment has to be cleaned to the nth degree. Every single thing has to come apart and be cleaned before anything can be produced in that room. And that's why the third-party certification is so important. So not only is our plant a BRC certified, which is like a third-party inspection for meat plants that are like the highest. The inspection takes several weeks.
Okay.
They go through every single inch of the plant, the offices, the docks, they look at everything. They look at all the paperwork, how it's all the protocols are met. It's HACCP on steroids. And then, so they have that third-party certification. So then we have another certification, the third-party certified. And when the inspector came through and did that last time, he said, there is no way that your stuff could ever be cross-contaminated. The only thing that could happen is if somebody intentionally sabotaged your product, like brought in a little thing of gluten.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, he's like, there's just no way that it could ever happen. And that's even with the antibiotic-free pork part of it too. Okay. So we source from 60 small family farms. Knock on wood, we have been super fortunate through this whole meat crisis that we were able to retain and maintain our supply of meat. Mm-hmm. We pay our farmers a living wage. They get the same price year round. It doesn't matter what the markets are doing, so that they can send their kids to college, so they can buy the new piece of equipment, so that they can maintain their barns and all that stuff. So anyway, that's part of the process. When the pork comes in, that the pork would never be mixed with something that wasn't antibiotic free, raised sustainably, all that stuff.
Is the product mixture of meat and pork, or cow and pork?
It's all pork. All of our products are pork except for the meatball, and that is beef and pork. Both.
Beef and pork. Okay. All right. Perfect. And your farmers, are they all in Colorado, or are they?
They're throughout the Midwest, and geographically in the Midwest, but because of like PEDV virus, which is a awful virus that happened to the hogs in 2014, and just various diseases and stuff. It's better if you're raising on small farms that are scattered throughout, so that if a disease comes into a region or a geographical area, if one farm's hit, your other farms aren't hit. But they have to be within so many miles of slaughter and all that kind of stuff. And the plant's a Temple Grandin facility, designed. So it's all that stuff. Yeah. Yep. And I've gone to the plant, and it was quite the experience. I've seen the hogs raised and the slaughter. And I can just tell you that I was so impressed, and I saw the kill floor and everything. And at the end, when I walked away, I wanted to go eat barbecue. And I know that is not the reaction that I was thinking that was, but people were happy. The plants, people were spread apart then. They stopped. They looked up from cutting. They smiled and talked to me. Mm-hmm. And they harvest everything up to the pituitary gland of the pig that they use in biological research.
Wow. I mean,
it's just amazing. So nothing is going to waste. The only thing that's not is the toenail.
Okay. That's okay.
I'm like, can't you use that for a mortar or something? I don't know. But it's just an incredible process, though. I feel good from the very beginning to the end. I'm proud that I can give you.
Yeah. I, a couple of years ago, I went down to White Oak Pastures in South Georgia, and I actually saw a cow go through the process and get slaughtered. And when they were skinning it, I was actually, that was so beautiful to me, how they did it, but also the colors of once they took the skin, and it was multitude of blues and reds, and you would have thought likewise that I would have been, she's like, you're not passing out. I'm like, no, I actually thought it was beautiful, but it was done in a very humane way. And I know some people don't think that's humane, but I think it was done, as humanely as you possibly could have done. And his slaughter facilities are on his farm, and they actually are Temple Grandin designed as well. So I think, yeah. So if you haven't seen that movie, go watch that movie. Claire Danes is in it, and it's a really good movie of this woman who is autistic and helps ranchers design these humane killing facilities for animals. So, okay, so we're coming up on 30 minutes in our chat. And I just have to tell everybody, I did get, Loree sent me product a couple of months ago, and we can't get the pictures up that I took, but all right. And then I'm just going to interrupt because Mandy just got on here. Recently watched the Temple Grandin movie and have such respect for the humanity of slaughtering animals. I so agree. And then Allison commented, she's like, I don't have allergies myself, but still appreciate being asked about allergens. My husband uses a wheelchair, and I find the best restaurants are always the ones more flexible when it comes to any kind of specific needs. And whether wheelchair or food allergies or dietary needs, I think that's so true. So I was talking about the stuff we had the meatballs, we had the chorizo, and the breakfast sausage. I know you said those are the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. Do you remember what else that you sent me, or tell us about what you have?
I did bratwurst. We have bratwurst. We also have Killer Hot, which I don't think I sent you any of.
No, thankfully not.
Yeah, it's super hot. Sells a lot of beer, which is great. And then we have our Italian, so our hot Italian, mild Italian, and all of the stuff, pretty much all of it, comes in link or ground.
Okay.
So like you can get a breakfast ground or breakfast link. And, then the breakfast links are small 2-ounce links.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really skinny 1-ounce links, but they're 2-ounce links. So they look really pretty on the plate. And they don't shrink. None of our stuff shrinks when you cook. In the chorizo, when you cook it up, you don't get a pan full of orange grease that you don't know.
No, we did not. Yeah.
Super lean, and it's so delicious. And we just did a whole batch of cooked crumble on that. And we can do, for food service, we do cooked crumble on the Italians. And we just did some on the chorizo, which is fantastic. Easy to use in a restaurant situation where you can just pull it out. It's already cooked. It reduces labor costs. And then you just put it in. And you know what? We have seen restaurants use our product very successfully. And the main thing when they use it is if you tell people what you're serving them, they will order it.
Yep.
Like if you just say you're serving sausage, I would never buy that. Well, of course I wouldn't, but if you say that I'm using a sausage that is antibiotic free and it's certified gluten-free and all this stuff, and it's super clean and it's Nana's recipe or whatever, people buy it. And not only do they buy it, but they'll pay more for it. And restaurants might have found that like on menus with grass-fed beef or organic chicken or Mary's Farm. Like if you mentioned Mary's Farm chicken, like I'll order that chicken. Right. Or if I know that I'm buying, beef from Creekstone, I'm going to buy that beef. So I think that it's really letting your customers know that you care, that you've taken the time to do all this sourcing. And then you look at this beautiful menu you created for them. They will so appreciate it and they will pay for it. Because I will never win on sausage bids with my competitors. I will always be way more expensive, but I'm telling you, people will pay for it and they will thank you for it if you do it.
Well, and so what if you buy in bulk? So say you're Mandalay Bay or a big hotel like that. I mean, does the price point come down when you're buying it for that large of a quantity, or is it still going to be, I mean, I know it's going to be more expensive than buying the what you can find in the grocery store, but does you have price points?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it depends. Like if we're going direct to Mandalay Bay, if they're buying like a pallet or 2 pallets or a truckload or whatever, there will be price adjustments for that for sure.
And I think, and I just pops in my head, they're very big on sustainability. And so your sausage meets that criteria as well of who you're buying your meats from for the making your sausages and things. But I know that my mom and dad and I had the breakfast sausage with blueberry pancakes and gluten-free blueberry pancakes. And I think I put the chorizo in some chili. Oh my God. You don't really we didn't have to add any real spices to it because the chorizo, because we had the crumble, it gave that extra flavor that you normally do with adding a bunch of different spices to that. And it was fantastic.
Exactly. Really, yeah. And I just took the chorizo this weekend and just put a pound of the chorizo with a pound of ground beef together and made hamburger patties and stuck them on the grill. No spices, nothing. I mean, the best, most gourmet burgers that you can make. And with just slices of avocado and some dough. It was so good.
I'll fly out to Colorado to see you.
It's so good. I took pictures this weekend. A lot of sausage.
Yeah, and we also did the meatballs, and I loved it because you had the recipe inside the label and I don't have any of my labels with me, but inside the label, and it was a lemon sauce.
Oh yes,
with the meatballs, and then we topped it with one of your Coloradian, is that right? Coloradian. Okay, I can't do it.
Coloradoan, yeah.
Coloradoan. Capello's fettuccine,
the best,
which is an almond-based pasta, and they do pizza crust and things like that. And actually, we just got the pizza crust in the Harris Teeter here in North Carolina.
Oh, yay! That's awesome.
I did, but I topped the meatballs on top of their fettuccine, and the whole family ate it, and it was delicious.
That's a regular meal in our house for sure.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So how can everybody find you? Foods, I know we talked about it a little bit about 20 minutes ago, but if you're food service, you can find you on DOT in the DOT system, right?
Yep. And if you want to email me, I can send you like a food service sell sheet that has all the DOT numbers on it and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's probably the easiest way to look it up through.
Okay.
And then also online, just mulays.com is our website, and I am putting up a food service page. I don't have it up today. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I will have it up very, very soon. But I can send you our sell sheet, and it'll have both all the information on it, all the certifications.
Well, send it to me, and I will attach it to this page as well.
Okay, that would be great.
Thank you, Loree, so much for being here.
Thank you, Tracy. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate what you do.
Oh, thank you.
To make all of us feel much more welcome and included in meetings and events. It's really meaningful.
You're welcome. I appreciate that. Yeah, it takes us a lot. My friend Marie just said, enjoyed the show. So that's it for the day. And Allison and I will get pictures posted up on Facebook and Instagram to show you what I cooked with Mulay sausage and products. And we'll post that sheet too for DOT. All right. Talk to you next time, Loree.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Eating at a Meeting podcast, where every meal matters. I'm Tracy Stuckrath, your food and beverage inclusion expert. Call me and let's get started right now on creating safe and inclusive food and beverage experiences for your customers, your employees, and your communities. Share the podcast with your friends and colleagues at our Eating at a Meeting Facebook page and on all podcast platforms. To learn more about me and receive valuable information, go to tracystuckrath.com. And if you'd like more information on how to feed engagement, nourish inclusion, and bolster your bottom line, then visit eating